Hey, you out there in TV land. This is Keeling Beckford, and you've been watching Paper Pash Picks.
It is me, Paper Push, alongside KB. Step on Mr. Beckford, shut it down.
Don't go,
I take Paper Push first.
say,
You see the same thing all the time.
say, if I fall on my knees and I plead to you, not to go, but to stay here in my arms, knowing how I love you so.
We are shut up.
Would you still turn and go?
Damn right.
But this time could be different in some ways. Don't go. Please say, don't go. Please say.
Should I really go? Should I really stay? More than just a friend, a lover to me. Now I hope and pray we make it through the day. And even when he's near, it's like he's so far away. He looked into my eyes, and then I heard him say,
Took me away from the rest of the world, and you taught me to love you like this. Now I hang my head down in shame, and I still could be saved by your kiss. If I call out your
Yes, this is Paper Posh, and Mr. Keeling Beckford has been posh. He's a wonderful, 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 amazing icon in international Caribbean music. His family tree reeks music, 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 music. And he's going to take it away and tell you why he is so posh and fabulous. Mr. Keeling, you've been posh.
How you doing?
Yes, I feel blessed.
Well, let me introduce myself. My name is Keeling Beckford, all right. One of the original reggae artists from the Rocksteady series, all right. So I was Jamaica fourth child star behind Errol Dunkley. We all learned it from the teacher Delroy Wilson, yeah. Well, anyway, to tell you a little bit about myself, right. I started out at a tender age of 13. Okay, when I make my first record, it was a number one record in Jamaica, London, all over the world. Right, that record took me to 14 different countries. Right, so, Well, to make a long story short, all right, who is Keeling Beckford? Keeling Beckford was born in Kingston, grew up in St. Mary, Islington. Right, migrate to London in the early 70s, went back to Jamaica and come back to migrate to the state in the late 70s. Right. I started my career in Jamaica and I developed in London. So between London and Paris, I learned a lot about the record industry. Coming to New York, I started work as a veterinarian for a while, because what they told me about New York and the record industry, it was a whole completely different. So I got to reinvent myself, right? So to get some cash and some money in your pocket, you got to do something else, right? So that's what I did for a while. Said about 6 months. Then I started buying record and selling record, do my recording artists and stuff like that, appear on a couple shows and things like that. So I decided to save my money, right, and open a store. So I did that in the early 80s, I think 81. And from that, I've been around with a lot of artists. I enter the hip hop scene, recording a lot of hip hop artists. I produce five solid hits like Rock the Message, Life on Planet Earth, Maximus Party. I work with a lot of people, like Eddie Chiba, Chili T, TJ Swan, all these guys, a lot of them. Well, after doing that for a couple of years, like 2, 3 years, right, I decided to concentrate more on the reggae side. So I've been back and forth in Jamaica, producing artists and stuff like that. Well, in the early 80s, I decided to take on a new genre in the music business, like producing videos and Jamaican movie, right? So I've been doing that since. Well, right now I started in Harlem, 135th Street. That's where I have my first store in New York City. Then I make a transition to Brooklyn, and I took over the famous Randy's record. That was in 1996, and I've been here since, and now it's 2003. So I cover a couple decades in the business, as a record producer, a businessman, promoter, musician, you name it, I do it all. Well, in January of this year, I received an award. Yes, I received this award at the Barclays Center. I gotta say thanks to David Levy, right? He was the one who initiated everything, right? Because I know David over the years, and he know all the work that I do and how long I was in the community, working on reggae music to keep the culture going. So to me, this is one of a great achievement of many awards that I get. I think I got 14 awards overall in my career so far, and I'm still hoping to get some more before I leave this planet.
And also, another award I would like for you to talk about is the one that you got from the White House.
Well, this was an award that I got from the White House for business as a small business associate. A matter of fact, they wanted me to join the organization for small business association, but at the time I was tied up. Had a project that I was doing in London, so I had to turn it down. So I didn't get the chance to really manifest and do what I really want to do in that, because I was contracted to do another project before this one come up in London.
Okay, wow, Mr. Beckford. So, is there anything that you're working on now?
Well, right now I'm working on a new album.
A new album? So, what about your old albums that you came out with? I know that you were telling me this was your first album that you did in London. Oh, okay.
This was my first release in London. This combination, right? This was early 70s. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So what about this one?
This one was the same album. We compiled it a little different and released it in New York City in the 80s.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool.
But overall, I had 5 albums. I record over almost 1,000 songs right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So,
So
what are you working on now? Mr.
now I'm working on a new album to hit the street sometime in September.
Oh,
All right. I don't complete the name of the album yet because I have several names. But I've been working with a lot of different artists. Like Lady Ann is one, okay, yeah, Paper Pash is one, okay, Randy B, Mikey Jarrett, a lot of artists, So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm in the studio right now, putting all the final touch for this new album that's coming out in the fall. And also, there's two documentary at this moment been shot by me, telling my life story back from Jamaica, tracing it all over Europe, come back to the States. So there's a lot of things about Keeling Beckford will be out in the future. You can check it out on YouTube and the internet. There's a lot of stuff. I'm getting ready now to launch my first music online where I'll be putting out a lot of concert that shot way back, contents that people never see before, artists that before us that's gone, and artists was in the present, and a lot more stuff. So all you gotta do is just stay tuned.
You're calling out my name in the middle of your sleep, begging me to stay, messing with my mom's side. Now all you wanna do is just play, play, play. Come with this, you come with that, and you're back and chat, so go away. With your ray, 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 so go away. With your ray, 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 so go away. With your ray, ray, ray. Don't go, please stay. Don't go. Please stay. If I fall on my knees and I plead to you, not to go, but to stay here in my arms.
This is Keeling Beckford, and you've been Posh.